Hello gamers and welcome to another YouTube video. It is the last of the tier 11 reviews for now. It is going to be on everybody's fan favorite, the Leopard 120 Verschlechtert. Enjoy. Alright, we've gotten here to the end, the last one. The Leopard 120. It's the last tier 11 right now that we haven't talked about. And it's also probably the most disappointing one, to be honest, because of how good the Leopard feels to how lackluster this one is. Get up a little bit. Got a Ghost Town, tier 11, tier 10, a lot of tier 11s actually. And this tank is, ability is, when you get a fully charged bar on the left, one, it plays a very annoying sound that will ring your ears for the remainder of your life if you listen to it for too long. And two, you barely get better gun handling than the Leopard / Vickers even. So basically, you get nothing. That is the thing. This tank gets APCR with 1500 meters a second, but then it gets a heat shell on a Leopard, which feels very anti-Leopard. Now, after playing Leopard 1 for so long, getting a Leopard 120 that then goes to heat is very interesting. This whole tank is so lackluster to play. Like, I played it and I don't know if I really had any enjoyable games where I was like, oh man, this tank actually did something better than the Leopard 120 would. Than the regular Leopard would. Why could this be the case that they made this tank like this is probably because they didn't want everybody to end up on the Leopard 120, you know, because Leo is super popular, like the tier 10 Leo, and probably didn't want all the population of medium tank enjoyers to center themselves around the Leopard 120 and wanting them to explore different tier 11s as well. Probably not the 432U because that one's trash as well. So different tier 11 medium tanks. Probably not the Shakal either, because that's too hard to play for most players. So yeah, they wanted them to try out the hacker, you know. So I don't know. This tank, it's like very lackluster. The ability, it doesn't even feel like an ability, to be honest. As normally, like good gun handling is already part of the Leopard. Having an ability that just like kind of improves upon that is kind of like, huh? Makes you raise a few eyebrows in terms of what is this really adding to the game, to your game as well. And it's a pretty slow ghost town. Nothing's really happening. I'm just waiting here on zero line. There's no light tanks, so this is something that happens. You can just take zero line for free and then end up sitting and waiting. Looking at the Ewan Heiner, waiting for him to cross. We got a shot on him as well. Wow, amazing stuff. 3 shots into the battle so far. And yeah, we're kind of alone on this side, so may even consider running away, to be honest, because of that. Because like at the end of the day, being here alone is not going to be very good. There is indeed an angle, especially on tall tanks, but it's like such a tiny angle. Only very rarely do you actually end up hitting something from this position altogether. And being on the field alone, even without lights, of course, you got to be careful. You know, the enemy team had a bad shot that could be playing the bush line. The Shakal, probably not. But because it was such a heavy MM, I think you're usually kind of free in the movement here. But since everybody's leaving, I've decided to leave as well. There's not much point to me be alone on that side because they can still push up unspotted from zero line. And if they do that, then I will just end up dying. So we opt to run away. But yeah, no, this whole tank is just extremely unfun to play. It really was a struggle to get the like even a few good games that are like worth like talking about, because I honestly feel like I pulled better results with the Leopard 1. No, I actually pulled better results with the Leopard 1 than the Leopard 120. So, I don't know, everything about it just doesn't really feel like a Leopard. It doesn't feel like it handles like a Leopard. It doesn't feel like it snaps like a Leopard. it doesn't even feel like it drives around like a Leopard. So I don't know. And especially also, you know, the fact that you have heat is playing into that as well, because the shells just feel so, it just feels so slow, you know. It's really weird. Which probably plays into the final accuracy feeling weird as well, because you can see how the shells kind of like deviate. I don't know how else to call it with heat, because it's a bit slower. Get a shot against the bad shot who's playing 1-2 line. So good rotation, catching out the bad shot. And in the meantime, you know, everybody's just kind of dying in the middle, and you can't really, you know, you can't really brawl with a Leopard 120, so you're just devoted to playing the outsides of the map. And I'm kind of like tempted to chase down the bad shot. I spot him out. That's extremely lucky to hit that. Let me tell you, it doesn't do that very often, but we do get the shot on the bad shot. And the kill, probably ours as well. No, the tier 3 actually kills him, but with the care 1 position, you do have some shots, and this is the interesting part. Griffon, unfortunately, there is a Griffon on 1-2 line. He gives us 2 shots because, of course, he had both of the shells reloaded. But the weird part here is indeed this Griffon is deciding to push up. So we get a shot into him, and then we'll get a second shot into him as well, because, like, why is he pushing up? He's just kind of YOLOing past, though. It's, you know, I'm in the Leopard, but he's the animal. Let's put it that way. Not sure. He was waiting in an ambush, and then decided to kill himself. Explain who can explain. In the meantime, they did repush 0 lines, so it's good that we actually left from that position a while ago, because, you know, the hacker came that way, and if the hacker goes to fight the Leopard 120, the hacker always wins, believe it or not. There's still a Gorilla unspotted, so you gotta be careful from the K-line balcony at that point. Because, like, if he's sitting at K4, K3, he is going to absolutely destroy you altogether. And the biggest part that makes you feel like this is very different from a Leopard is the fact that I'm playing stabs on this. I don't remember the last time that I played stabs on my Leopard 1, you know, but on this, it just feels like it's not playable without it almost. I don't know, it's just weird. So, like, normally I would play HP Vent's rammer on the Leopard 1, and that works for me. The gun is definitely good enough for that. But on this tank, it's just like, it doesn't feel like it's a possibility. And like I said, in general, it's just a disappointment to play this. Like, it's just, I don't know. If you've ever played the Leopard 1, you know how that tank feels like, and then you play this, and it's like, what happened? You know, what happened? It's like that, Jaguar rebrand, a total failure. But yeah, picking the embottable a little bit. I also swear that this tank, I mean, Leopard 1 doesn't really bounce either, but just the turret shape and the way it peaks, I feel like the Leopard 1 ends up getting hit less than this one does. The turret feels a little bit more clunky in that regard. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's like, Leopard 1 turret is super compact. When you peek, it's kind of annoying to shoot at even. But this one, I mean, he does bounce that one, but this one just feels like it's like more clunky. I don't know. But we do kill him, the embottable, and now it's 10, 12, we have 5k damage, we get to sit on the balcony, and possibly snipe away a little bit. But yeah, the thing is, the Leopard 1 is extremely popular, so they probably didn't want the Leopard 120 to be insanely popular, and I think at that they've definitely succeeded. I don't think the Leopard 120 will ever be remotely successful like this, because I know a lot of people that started off by, oh man, I'm gonna grind my favorite tanks, the Leopard 1, the Gorilla, and something else, you know, and yeah, well, that was expected, so I guess they anticipated that by making the Leopard 120 a pile of shit in that regard, but it doesn't really work to do that, like if you want to decrease the popularity of the Leopard, because people just continue playing Leopard 1, and they will not move from the Leopard 1 because the Leopard 1 feels great. So you're not really achieving that much. The only way to really successfully introduce this change is one that they didn't do. Is what would have worked is actually nerfing the Leopard 1 in 2.0 and then releasing the Leopard 120 as it was. Because the Leopard 1 wouldn't feel nearly as good then compared to the Leopard 120, if it was nerfed to, you know, reduce its popularity, would it have gone down well with the player base? Probably not. Would it be a successful tactic? Probably yes, actually. It would work in that regard. Because if the tank before doesn't feel so good, then this one won't feel so bad. Except they'll both feel bad, yeah? It's just the way it is. But we're getting some good shots from the balcony. And, you know, it's pretty tough to say that this was my best battle in the Leopard 120. Just by, I think it averaged like 3.5k in the session. Like, it was very, very tough. Very tough to play. Tier 3, lucky bounce for us. I mean, it's crazy that he even hits that blind fire, but, you know, we end up bouncing. So, Leopard 120, greatest tank in the game, I guess. You spot out the very, very healthy Taschenratte coming our way. And it is 340 millimeters the pen, or 345. No, 340 and then ammo tuning. We should be able to pen the upper plate of the Taschen, but even that is like relatively armored. We go for the lower plate, end up not penning, but when he comes closer, you'll see that the angle on the upper plate, it kind of becomes a lot worse. Soon TM. That is just the pen mod line there. That is 100% possibility to just pen through the upper plate. It's not really accurately showing that. So we get 2, and then he comes too close actually, and he spots us through it. So we have 8.5k. We know that the hacker is coming, and we know that the gorilla might be holding our back angle. We were considering running away, but then we spot out the Tier 3. We kill him, a low roll from the Tier 3. I think we should be alive anyways against him nonetheless, but a low roll giving us 8.8, and you know, I'm just waiting for the hacker to push us now. There's 2 guys on the cap, so that's the double gorilla actually. And I didn't realize that until now, that the double gorilla was capping, which means that I could have actually backed away and played a distance. And I opt not to shoot to try and get the full shot, but the hacker doesn't care and blasts us away. Quick 8.8, a good battle, but even now you could see, I don't know, a sluggish Leopard. So, replay number 2. It was, like I said, it was pretty tough to find something worth showing on this tank. And I think the whole thing is just, whole point of the video is just to make sure you never grind this in its current state. I mean, I ended up actually grinding it through Onslaught just so I could have it in the garage, just so if it gets buffed, I will have it, I'll have it ready. Now the real question is, how long would it take to buff this? Because they said that they're ready to take, or I mean, make changes quickly. But like, in Wargaming terms, what does quickly mean? If usually you do changes every year, does that mean every half a year, every 3 months? Like, what does quickly mean? Because there's obviously a few drastically underperforming tanks. Right. I think we can all say that. And they're mainly the mediums, actually. And, you know, the Hirsch, but the Hirsch is the Hirsch. We talked about that in the previous video. So, but like for the Leopard 120, like what could we do to make this tank more enjoyable? First of all, maybe we don't have heat as primary ammo on the Leopard 120. I understand, like in terms of like balancing, having heat as a primary, as a secondary ammo is, or primary premium ammo, whatever. It's pretty like cool because, you know, you end up with needing to make the choice if you want to shoot APCR with the shell speed, or you slow reheat with a higher pen, right? And that part I understand it, but when you have the tank before having APCR, maybe it's a bit like tough of an awakening for the user to end up in that situation, because in general, having a heat sniping gun makes the gun feel a lot worse, only because of the way like you see the tracers, the way the shells fly, because of the shell speed. Even if, you know, the final accuracy may not be different, the gun will feel a lot worse. And in terms of like, at least for me, when I'm playing with a heat sniper gun, it will always feel worse than playing with an APCR sniper gun. So, you know, like it doesn't help this tank, that's already lackluster. And then of course, like the ability on this tank, I don't even know if it's really an ability. It's just like, they could have just called it Leopard 1 gun handling, and that's it, you know? It's like we want to give you the Leopard 1 gun handling, but we don't just want to give it to you. We want you to wait for it, and then you get to do one shot with it, and it's like, haha, Now you have to wait. I don't know. Of course, we got a mountain pass, and as per usual, your team is losing, so you're falling back into the base. It definitely doesn't help that we have a BZ-79 and a T-803 playing the Valley for some mysterious reason. Like, Valley very good. Big bounce from the Hirsch though, hitting the outside instant ricochet angles. So, you know, on mountain pass, quite often the best play will be this play. It's just to simply fall back into the base and play from there. But you can see even now, like, the gun just doesn't feel... I swear to God, if we remove the tank name from the bottom left and only stay in sniper mode and you ask people what tank is he playing with, I don't think they would ever guess the Leopard, to be honest. Maybe that's just me. I do get some good shots out though. Getting some pretty decent damage. Getting shot on the Leopard. Sadly, we take one from the Hirsch though, and that is a big hit. 760. It hurts. We get another one against the Leopard though. The one thing that does feel good about this tank, of course, is that alpha. It's a slight alpha increase, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, no, with an alpha increase, of course, you know, basically hitting every shot above 400 and the 500s. That's a pretty good feeling. And some more good shots, and you see like that part. Okay, but like the thing is, this what I'm doing now, I could do with any tank. I could do this with a 432. Okay, maybe that's a stretch, but pretty close to it. There's nothing that makes the Leopard 120 stand out right now at all as its role of like, well, a sniper medium. While you have, for example, you know, the Hacker has insane gun handling. The 432 has insane alpha, even though it sucks. The Chacal has speed with like a DPM mode, so like a hybrid fighter. And the Leopard 120 has a giant wiener up its ass. And that's about it. You know, that's a beautiful shot though against the Hirsch. Big hit. But 560 HP, kind of a scam, to be honest. Kind of a scam. And this background sound that you're hearing of the ability charging may just be the most infuriating sound I've ever heard in World of Tanks in my life. Like, I'm telling you, if you don't have other sounds going on and all you're listening to is this Leopard ability charge, like this high-pitched ringing tone, it's crazy. Like, I don't understand how the sound people were like, you know what we should do? We should make an ability that's going to be basically constantly charging. And what would we do? We put like a high-pitched, high-frequency noise in it because they're going to love that, you know? I don't know. You know, like that sound is incredibly annoying. If you ask me, I find it an incredibly annoying sound. I usually play with music on, so you know, I didn't end up hearing it. But at one point, I hear the ringing, and I'm like, "What is this? What is this? What's happening?" And realize it's actually the tank, or the ability of the tank, which is, yeah, again, crazy. But we got some good damage out in this battle. I mean, it was a good move to fall back to the base. We get 5k out of it. Farming a Tashinrata as well. A little bit of a brave peak. He ends up missing us though, so it's pretty good for us. Getting another shot out, 5.8. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's a decent battle nonetheless. But, like I said, could have done this in anything. There's nothing that makes this, you know, like an amazing performance from a Leopard 120 because, you know, it is what it is. Anyways, back to base. We're still losing against the enemy team. The Bliskavica decided to be a Pepega, driving through the open, dies. I mean, not surprised since he comes from the valley. Usually most of the interesting specimens can be found in the valley. So, pretty good play there. Now we gotta be careful though, because the Super Conqueror actually took a really nice position there for his tank. You see, kind of a hold-down rock he's playing behind. That's kind of annoying, and because, you know, in one of the mount pass reworks where the Batshot died, they removed the position to lean over. So there's only one left where the Batshot died. So I figured I couldn't go there because of that. So we're just trying to hold the angle now onto the Batshot. But yeah, you know, like this is just really just an average mountain pass battle though. You lose immediately. You fall back to the base, and you actually have a chance of winning the game off of it. That is mountain pass 1-to-1 in my opinion. It goes from both sides that way, from both north and south. And yeah, the position here still works, but the Batshot's in the way. But you know, as a Giga Trap, we just push him out, killed a super conqueror with a high roll as well. And at this point in the battle, when it's 12-11, you have to start wondering if they wouldn't be running to base, especially this Theater 3, which seems to be very healthy, so successfully baiting his teammates. NRBs is exploring the middle, check one side. I think at this point I was already, like, I'm pretty convinced already that they might be running. End up blind firing in case the Leopard 120 behind the rock and is holding there. Could leave somebody behind. We have ammo for this anyway, so why not try it, right? And with BZ clearing down the middle, I think we're soon coming to the full realization of, yeah, they just run away, to be honest. Like, they ended up running away. But yeah, this thing is just like, you know, what could you fix about it? Honestly, I think a more interesting way for this ability to work is, and this is just me thinking very quickly, instead of the 4 charges, you get 4 shots. So, okay, maybe not 4 shots, but instead of the 4 charges, you work with shots. So every charge is a shot, which you have gun handling before. Then afterwards, the chargers start like recharging, but it takes a while for the 3rd charge to come in. So like the 3rd charge is the longest charge, the 2nd charge is the, second, and the 1st charge is the fastest. So that at any given point in the battle, almost you have 3 charges or 2 charges. I mean, just quickly thinking out of for like the extra gun handling, something along those lines, I think would be more interesting than what it is now. And then you play with the values to see like where it needs to be for it to be not all the time active. I think that could be interesting, something like that. You keep the idea of the charges for gun handling, but decide to rework a little bit and make the person think if they want to waste the charges or not. Or you give them an extra button, which means they can apply the charges, you know? And then it has like a decently long cooldown. I don't know. Something like this, you know? Like you build up charges over time, you can activate the charges. And when you're out of charges, it takes a while to recharge. I don't know, something like that I think would be far more interesting. At least personally. Of course, like this is just like me thinking of on the top of my head, like what could be interesting for the tank. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. To keep somewhat of the idea behind what they're doing. Gotta be really careful when pressuring the valley, because, you know, there's still an EBR somewhere. We spot out the Theater 3, that's pretty lucky timing actually. This was a crazy shot against the EBR though. Because we catch the back of him, the EBR just ending it all. Very interesting, like 0 pressure on him, decides to jump off a cliff, but we actually hit that. But that was pretty cool. And now we gotta be careful from the Theater 3. He pushes us, we hit a banger. It doesn't do this too often either. So, pretty good damage. Pretty good game, well played out. Falling back to base. Not being too stupid with it. Holding it as well and turning... basically guaranteed loss into... not guaranteed win, but... You know, with 4 of our people pushing in and me creeping up from the other angle, I would say that that's looking rather good. Especially if I would end up winning the 1v1 trade against Leopard 120. Got a good shot against the Theater 3 in the back as well. Dropping him low. And, you know, all around, it's just a really good game for the Leopard 120, to be honest. Right? I think for the Leopard 120, it's actually a phenomenal game. And we don't find the last one, though. But again, you know, pretty happy with it nonetheless, because on this tank, getting a game like this was a miracle for me already. So, last replay. Changing it up a little bit. This is going to be the harder showcase, because, you know, on highway, we do not play 1-2 line. I just don't like going 1-2 line. We always play... towards the city. That was a bad shot actually, looking back at it. Not finding it working on the first. Finding him on the second, however. But yeah, playing a little bit more aggro is of course more difficult as well at the same time, playing like a city. We could have had 1.2k damage, instead we have 421. It's a little bit disappointing if you ask me. But yeah, we're going to be playing city with the Leopard 120, and playing these kind of positions with a medium is, of course, you know, pretty difficult. Try to hold the angle on the crossing. That was pretty bad from us. And then another guy crosses. Bad timing. Never comes alone. He comes in threes, apparently. So missing out on a shot there. But yeah, this is definitely the tougher gameplay. For, I mean, most of you as well. Because, you know, playing mediums in heavy environments, it's pretty easy to kill yourself in about 3.5 seconds. But the E5 fires, we aim to shoot APCR through the track because it should pen. We do not end up getting it, even though I feel like we should have gotten it. But anyways, we're going to try this again. He adjusts well. He is over-angling, though. And with over-angling, I mean against heat. That's the beauty there of heat against the E5 side. Whenever he turns like that, he's always exposing the side plate. And the side plate is a pen. Like you can see it right there. Against heat, it doesn't give a shit about it, what he's doing. It just goes straight through. So that's why you gotta be really careful with E5 higher side scrape, because if you meet the wrong guy with the right gun, this is not very fun to do if you're like that E5. That one goes slightly top right though, ends up missing because we can see, you know, like, as much as I think the E5 is like the best tank in the game after the Type 5 nowadays probably, you gotta be careful about how you approach your, like, definitely your side scrape. Though the 113 is pushing up, he takes a shot from the E3, gives us an opportunity to peek this 260, give a shot as well. And continuing through as well, I mean, the 260 is on reload again, we give him the second shot. If he goes back more, he'll shield the E3 from shooting towards his position. So we end up taking another shot there, so 3k for basically free. Now the i7 getting spotted under heat will not pen this, so should always intuition to APCR, which we do. We get the shot under the rails as well. Being low to the ground helps a little bit. The 113 finds the shot, and we find the kill. So pretty good shooting, to be honest. So far, 3.7k damage. And now, when you're rolling kind of over the city, the most important part is to keep up with the speed of the battle, which is making sure to look around you, check the reloads of people, and give them hell for them trying to survive in the city. The K1 is on reload. I still don't know how that bounced, to be honest. Like, I still don't know how that bounced between you and me. Luckily enough, he bounces back though. So I guess, you know, all is good in the world. But you can see, like, if you played well, if you pay attention to what's happening around you, you can end up in scenarios where playing city or playing into these parts of the map where you normally wouldn't expect yourself to be playing can work out very, very well for you in terms of damage. An unexplainable miss, like actual Leopard 120 moment. And heavy, full reticle, standing like still, it misses. Like Leopard 120 moment. So if we count all the damage missed out in the beginning, on top of this, yeah, we could be at 7k already. They're capping the base though, so we're gonna end up going back as well. He's capping behind the back building. Leopard 120 getting spotted out together with the Borken Käfer. That's fine. We go over the bridge simply why? Because it's faster. Going down through the water takes more time. But it's a bit faster. Coming back into the base to try and get the KR1. The question is, of course, where's the TVP? However, that answers the question to where the TVP is. He's sitting in the back bushes. Put out the Leopard 120 running away. Give him a shot as well. Gotta be careful. We're trying to put the building in between us and the TVP at all times now, because we don't know how many shells he has left. We find a shot against the KR1 as well. And again, it's a very good game of good positioning and good trading and picking the right angles and kind of utilizing my teammates' HP as well. So I can get a pretty good game out of it. I mean, it was a quicker one as well, but in terms of general gameplay, it was pretty good. Find a TVP, and yeah, right. Okay, I shouldn't have auto-aimed, right? Sure, but still, you know, 603, however, with HE. It's a pretty good feeling. So we're missing out a little bit in this battle. Could have very easily been an 8k. But anyways, to round it up, the Leopard 120 is a pile of shit. Don't grind it. You're going to regret it. As always, gamers, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys all in the very next one. Thank you for chilling. Have a good one. Ciao. Peace.